All right. So, I'm just gonna get right into it. I'm aware how, pardon the fan, it's hot in San Francisco in June, and different weather conditions, temperatures, but it's hot, so I got the fan on. I'm very much aware how everybody is obsession with Nikki Everetti. I'm sorry, not Nikki. Um, Navarrete as Nikki. I forgot her first name for a second. Indy Navarrete. There you go. As Nikki, and Michael Johnston as Bale, which is short for Baron. And you get that by looking at the his name tag, his store name tag at the beginning of the film. I just left a letterbox review of both Obsession and Backrooms. Now, I will say this: this is a good time to go see both. A lot of major theaters, they do discount Tuesdays, some type of Tuesday special to where tickets on Tuesdays are cheaper than normal tickets all day long Tuesday, at least Tuesday. I know all major theaters does that. AMC theaters in particular does Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tickets are literally 50% off. So, with that said, I would say go see a double feature. I would, but I'm working 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., 8 hours. I'm working that, so I won't be able to. Maybe Wednesday, I think my schedule will allow it. But I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I know my face looks a little twisted on camera. It actually kind of is. It's something to deal with, I think, the shape of my skull. I used to wonder why my brother called me Quasimodo. And I point that out because as whatever his name is, J4 Jackson said in Michael, when he was portraying his Uncle Michael in Michael, that came out this year. Still a good film, by the way. Just saw something on YouTube regarding the song Human Nature. Apparently people went from sitting down in the auditorium to standing up. It went from a film experience to a concert, and like that. Anyway, he said that his face was not symmetrical. That's why he was talking about his big nose. That's why he had nose reduction surgery, aka rhinoplasticity. I would not be going through that. No, I would be going through face surgery because I can't afford it, and I think I look beautiful enough. Anyway, my face is not symmetrical. And the only reason why I bring this up is because the character in Backrooms that plays Mary, the psychiatrist, it's hard to pronounce her name. She's Norwegian, so I think it's a Wanda or something. I forgot her name. It's Renata Wevera. Her last name kind of sounds like reservoir, but like I said, I'm not quite sure on how to pronounce it. I did have it down, but I forgot. Anyway, it's another good movie, by the way. But as I'm watching Backrooms, I'm being careful not to say Backwoods. I'm noticing that the character Mary, played by Nate, kind of makes me want to say Nadawa, like Nadawa. I mean, Nadawa, which is kind of like saying Madawa, Uchiha, and Nata, but Nawate. I think that's her name. Wanate. Her face is asymmetrical, and to me, I'm basically staring at her on the screen, and I'm paying attention to her face. I'm like, her left eye seems to be smaller than her right eye, and her eyes are not even. The left eye is doing like this, and the right eye is doing like this, and that's kind of like me. This eye appears to be lower than this eye, especially if I stare into the camera, because of my face being kind of twisted. And you can tell, like, when I'm holding my head straight, and it gets kind of twisted, this way. So this is like my good side, and this is my, I guess, weaker side. And I've taken punches to my face, so that's probably why my face is bulging like that. This little eggnog so it's kind of maybe deformed my face a bit, but yeah. It makes my glasses look twisted, is all hell, so bear with me. I know I'm an ugly guy, but it's okay. It does come out as my mouth goes, though. You can tell it's not even. But also cameras distort everything anyway, especially when it comes to the face. When it's centered like this, it distorts. It's called lens distortion. Anyway, back on point. I'm gonna start with Obsession. Obsession to me was such a great. It's a humorous, funny film, along with a horror film. You know how horror films are. They're not just scary anymore. They're outright funny, hilarious. Because this century in particular, so many filmmakers are making an attempt to make their movies funny. And that's good because you're not just like trying to scare people. You're flat out also trying to make them laugh. And as a side note, I got out of an AMC Screen Unseen. It was a movie called The Furious. I left the out of theater reaction and got for 12 years, but anyway, it was also kind of funny. It's one of those kung fu movies, karate movies, whatever you call it, fighting movies, with an Asian, a mute Chinese man. Like he can't speak, he can understand, he can listen, he can hear, but he can't speak, and he's out to save his daughter who was kidnapped. But I'm only mentioning it because it was actually not just a serious fighting movie. It was actually kind of funny too, and I would hear the audience laughing even in moments I didn't understand it. So I'm just saying, the genres that are not funny, they're not in the lines of Scary Movie, which is another movie coming out this weekend that's intentionally scary. Movies that are not made to be intentionally scary are actually intentionally have moments of humor injected into the films to make you laugh, doing things so much as fight scenes, in particularly horror. That said, get back on point, Michael. Horror has this thing nowadays in 2026 where we are expected to laugh, and we indeed do. Nikki is so loud. That's the character played by Indy Navarrete, once again talking about Obsession, that it scares people. But also what she does is quite funny. I'm not really going to be not really spoiling out of film because that would just take too long, and this review would go from like an easy 15 minutes to a whole blown hour or two. But anyway, yeah, it's funny. It's scary. It's not scary in the terms of jump scares, although jump scares are done well in this film. And keep in mind, both Obsession and Backrooms were made by YouTubers or YouTube content creators. I will cheat and look on IMDb. So Obsession was directed by Corey Baker. Obviously, he wrote and directed the film, and then Backrooms, in turn, was directed by, bear with me, Kane Parsons. And I mentioned those two. These two have something very unique in common. What is it? It is simply that they both started off with their own series on YouTube. Their own TV series on YouTube. I say TV because it didn't appear on TV unless you have your television connected to your computer like I do. But it's like a short series. I haven't watched either series. With Obsession director Corey Baker, his series was called, actually that is actually a film. It was called Milk and Cereal. Not cereal like bowl of cereal, not spelled that way with the C, but spelled, not spelled Cereal. I look up when I spell because I'm trying to think, but it's actually spelled Serial, like a serial number, like when you're looking up your phone, trying to find the serial number, or trying to find the serial number of your monitor, or your computer, or whatever, the serial number. So it's called Milk and Cereal. That movie, directed by Corey Baker, Oh, sorry, is it Corey? I think it's Corey Barker. Maybe I might be Corey Barker. I'm sorry, Corey Barker. Directed by Corey Barker. Is well known. Yeah, Corey Barker, well known in the YouTube community. And on the same note, Kane Parsons' short series titled "The Backrooms" is quite well known. I won't go so far as to say famous, because there's a lot of people that went into the movie Backrooms and not know anything. They didn't know anything, myself included. I would say that obsession. I would say that Corey Barker's Milk and Cereal has more of a fan base, or is more well known than The Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons. And once again, I'm talking about the YouTube these directors' YouTube career content series that they had before they went into the official filmmaking business. I mean, before they became known, by Hollywood for their horror films. So yeah, Chris Stuckman is phenomenal for not only kind of jump-starting and starting off the YouTube series of putting, film reviews on YouTube and people watching them, along with, Jeremy Johns, but he also had his own movie not too long ago, just last year, called Cherry Oaks. And right after that, we had Markiplier's movie, The Iron Lung. I know people don't really give Chris Stuckman the credit he deserves, and I do think he deserves it, because even though it's not the best horror movie, I would say it's a damn good attempt. It's a damn good movie, because with some mistakes aside, it's an honest attempt. At least he got his feet wet. At least he put forth the work. So all you YouTubers that keep saying he needs to go into directing, fuck off. Literally. Anyway, going back into it, Markiplier really set the tone for YouTube content creators going into, filmmaking on the big scale. And so now that we have Corey Barker and Kane Parsons, respectively, there was yet, I think they're the most recent. There was a few more. I think there's one more I forgot to mention that had this on. He was a YouTube content creator. I forgot what it was. It might have not been a horror movie. I'm of course talking about horror movies. I'm really sticking to that because of the same genre. Anyway, so yeah, Obsession it's just a good time. Yes, you can see it by yourself. I would strongly advise that you see it with friends. And because it makes it that much better. Any movie is like that. Especially something like Obsession. So, Michael Johnston as Barry, as Bale, once again short for Baron. He does a phenomenal performance at being a poor little sap that is too afraid to tell his love interest, aka crush, Nikki, about said crush. In the beginning of the movie, mild spoiler alert, she asks him if he likes her, and he says no. Then he thinks he's a coward and begins to really criticize himself, chastise himself, so he breaks a wishbone like trinket, makes a wish, and then breaks it. He's supposed to break it and then make the wish according to the instructions. And then said wish comes true with very dangerous, detrimental, and eventually dying consequences. Yeah, that's more than a mild spoil. Anyway, that's pretty much Obsession. Moving on, Backrooms. It's I said the name. I think it's Wanate as Mary, and I'm looking at IMDb because I need help knowing the names. Yeah, you got Wanate Reservoir as Mary, and then Chiwetel Ejiofor. I'm getting used to his name. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Clark, who is this owner of a furniture selling store. He sells furniture. And And if you don't know Chiwetel Ejiofor, the movie's called 12 Years a Slave. He's also known as I think he's Mordor in the movie Doctor Strange, both 1, 2, and just 1 and 2 because there's only 2 Doctor Strange movies. And he's also known for Venom, The Last Dance, as Witchland, who was that, Strickland, as that, strict ass military guy. He has also other roles, but I think he was in a movie with the guy that plays Loki, Tom Hiddleston. I forgot the name. I'm about to say Tom Hiddleston. The movie was called Chuck or something. He was in that movie for a bit, and I just think he's a very good actor. He's got a lot of good emotional range, and I'm just trying to look at the movie real quick because it's kind of hard for me to really remember his what all he was in. The Life of Chuck, yes, The Life of Chuck. And as more ado. Sorry. Anyway, like I said, he's very good in this film. So is Renate Wazevor. She's very good as well. I'm not quite familiar with her. She's one of those actresses that you've seen them before, but you can't point out where you've seen them from. I know that face, but I don't quite remember where I saw it. I don't remember the TV series. I know that she was in, if I look at the IMDb page real quick, I'm a cheater, I gotta say, sorry. She was just in Sentimental Value, movie I was thinking about going to go see, but I didn't happen to go see it. Anyway, she was in that movie, and this movie she plays a psychiatrist. Clark's psychiatrist. Clark is once again played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. So Clark, the owner of said furniture selling company, the store, he goes every week, I think, to see a psychiatrist. That's Mary. They role play because apparently Chuck is going through. Sorry, not Chuck. Clark is going through something involving his wife. His wife, I believe her name was. Well, I forgot her name. Anyway, she apparently kicked him out of his house, their house. A house that he paid for, by the way. He paid for the roof over her head. As well as talk about his wife. He paid for her education. He paid for her time in school as well as her time off school. Whenever she took a break or whatever, for vacation or whatever. He also paid for her food and basically everything. Because apparently, according to him, his wife didn't have a job. And he wanted her to, quote-unquote, get off her fat ass and help by, getting employed, getting a job. While he worked days and nights at the store, the furniture selling store, which he ends up living in because he's kicked out of his house. There's a nice little scene where he's actually watching the news, he's actually watching TV, because he got kicked out of his house, so he wasn't going to live on the streets. So rightfully so, since he owns the store, he's basically paying property taxes on the store. He owns the property, he has to pay property tax or whatever. He might as well live in the store. No one can tell him he can't. But it's nice to see that he set up his own little bedroom. With pulling the TV close by, lying on the bed with the remote, has the TV plugged up to the power outlet. The power keeps going out, by the way, making him very frustrated. Annoyingly, he has to get up, go to the breaker box, check it, flip it on if it flipped off. And all during the movie, he sees these weird-looking switches that appear to be going diagonally rather than, horizontally. And the electrician that he calls in to come check it, because it keeps going out, and he's living at this place, by the way, so he needs to walk away. The electrician says it's very weird for those of the wet switches to be diagonal like that. Yeah, very weird. And later on, during the night, he checks it and flips it off, lights go off, and then he discovers in this very room, which is in the basement, appears to be a doorway, a portal of sorts, within the wall. He goes through it, finds out that there is this whole other office space that just keeps going on and on and on. First it looks normal. He notices a bunch of random doors, all lined among yellow walls. As he keeps going, he notices things are off. Furniture is halfway sunk into the floor, as if it had been going through quicksand, and stopped at some point. He notices basically dead bodies in the floor as well, halfway there, with the arms sticking out. And keeps going. He hears a scary noise. He runs right back to the exit, and keeps going off screen. And we know this because he obviously draws a blueprint, and we later see that he's drawn an entire map of every area that he's discovered thus far, which Mary later discovers when it's her half of the film. When her half of the film comes in, not even her half, but her little section, her little solo journey, as she's looking for Clark, who later goes missing, so to speak. She discovers that he has pretty much mapped this place. Mary is vital because she does this whole role-playing thing with him to help Clark cope with his being kicked out by his wife. And by the way, his wife has a sort of distorted figure as he discovers a certain entity that lies within the backrooms. And it's a certain version of him. I must go ahead and spoil it. People have already seen it. That's twisted and wearing a powered outfit, because earlier during the film, Clark is wearing a powered outfit because he's got his assistant manager, which is this young 20-ish-year-old whose boyfriend has a student account, so he's able to borrow a camera, and they use that to shoot the commercial that Clark is trying to do in order to bring in more customers, because apparently the store is being closed. It's been sold or whatever, but so it's closing, so everything must go. There's everything must go signs throughout the store. The best deal in town, unbeatable price. You don't have to worry about credit. It says no credit check guaranteed, so that shows you right there. Any person, any owner, any store that does that is flat out letting you know everything must go. We're closing this damn store. Buy as much as you can. This is the cheapest you'll ever find, period. And you see that as Mary is in a whole little section walking through the store, but Clark earlier in the film is wearing this outfit, trying to sell this, trying to get this video going. So the boyfriend, let me go ahead and go into IMDb here to mention the names. The boyfriend is portrayed by Finn Bennett. He plays Bobby. That's the camera guy, the boyfriend of Kate, who is Clark's assistant manager. She's played by Lakita Maxwell. Earlier in the film, I should have mentioned this, we have a certain individual who is he's a employee of this scientific group. I forget the group's name, but you can look it up on Wikipedia or watch the movie. He is seen running away from something, trying to find his way out with a camera. So you get this found camera footage moment. He sees a dove, apparently. I think it's a dove, some kind of bird that somehow has gotten into the backrooms. And we already know from the very beginning that something is off. This is one of those weird sci-fi movies, scary movies. The character is named Naren Warren, played by Avon Joga. If you don't know who he is, he was in two notable films. The first one was Zombieland Double Tap. He played a guy named Bulkley. Look that up. And he also played Leon S. Kennedy in 2021's Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I loved Zombieland 2 Double Tap, but I did not love Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I thought that Avon Jogia, sorry, butchered his name. I thought he was terrible as Leon. Leon is my favorite video game character of all time. I guess Dante from Devil May Cry is my second. Leon made me want to be a cop. I'm not a cop, but still. Anyway, yeah, I do not think that was a good Leon. Just saying, but he's in this film. It's funny, I don't think you even see him. You don't, because I watched it again, and in the beginning, I looked for his face. I didn't see his face, unless I'm wrong. If not, let me know in the comments. And I'm gonna go ahead. We got Robert Watsky as the pirate Clark. That's the big baddie. That the deformed Clark. The pirate Clark that you see at the end, near the end of the movie. Embo Ambrose as young Mary. Apparently, the character Mary, the psychiatrist, had her own traumatic moment in her childhood, with her mom. Her mom, Nora, played by Krista Grossman, she apparently said that they're everywhere, waiting outside, and she's not to open the doors or attempt to go outside. And her mom is later hospitalized in a mental health institution, and somehow young Mary ends up going back home. And that part was like vague, mysterious. I know intentionally. Part of me is I look behind me. I'm just getting kind of scared because the movie, not scared, but a little bit not paranoid. I'm just anyway. Yeah, she's actually. How can I say? It's actually vague, right? There's bits and pieces of Backrooms that are kind of vague, so, and that's the frustrating part. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what does this have to do with the film? I understand that that's Mary's traumatic childhood moment, but how did she get back home without a parent? And what was her mother even scared of? There's this other moment a little before that where you see, when you first see Mary, a mother and a daughter, clearly that's them in the past. They're holding hands, putting their handprints into the cement as the cement is drying, becoming concrete, like part of the sidewalk, and some construction rumble falls on them, right? Apparently Mary visited that house. So anyway, Mary keeps this little handprint concrete thing. I guess she keeps that because that's a reminder of her mom. Because her childhood, that's her mom was kind of taken from her to that institution, and it's a reminder of her past, her home, and so she holds on to it. And I think the reason why Mary became a psychiatrist was because her mom was, hospitalized, institutionalized in a mental health facility. It doesn't really explain it, but it's just visual, so it's trusting your audience kind of stuff. No exposition needed. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, you got a psychiatrist that ends up finding this twisted world, alternate universe that is the Backrooms. Not many people know what the Backrooms is. Not many people know about it. Apparently, there's games about it on Steam. And there's the YouTube Shorts, once again, made by Kane Parsons. There's other movies about the subject. It doesn't solely belong to Kane Parsons. He just popularized the already well-known idea. The whole idea started on the internet with a thing called creepypasta. And I think Slender Man was a part of that. If you don't know what Slender Man is, that tall, scary, thin guy. It's like 9 feet tall. And I think I see a ladybug. That's a sign of good luck. And yeah, so as a part of that, the mid 2000s type of all the internet things that went about, and when I say all the internet, I'm talking about before Wi-Fi, when everything was still Ethernet, when you still had to go to the damn library just to use the internet if you didn't have internet at home. That's me. But yeah, this is kind of stuff that reminds you of YouTube's earlier years, like back when it was founded in 2005. That's about when I think the creepypasta stuff started. When pretty much Chris Stuckman started his career, along with Jeremy Johns. And I mention that because Backrooms, I said backwards again, Backrooms, it's set in 1990. Like 3 years before the setting of Longlegs that came out 2 years ago, and a year before I was born. So the film has a 90s-ish feel. It feels like the 90s because it's got that. You see the old vehicles. You see the design, the very video recording that you see when you see the found footage scenes. And as well as whenever the character Bobby, the boyfriend that is the boyfriend of the assistant manager, when you see him recording, it gives you that 90s feel of the old days of when you had such camera recording equipment, video recording equipment, along with camcorders. So it gives this whole film grain visual. So and there's quite a bit of first-person perspective in this movie, by the way. I'm gonna go ahead and point that out there, included in the found footage segments. So be a lookout for that. There's even a whole segment with Clark earlier in the film as he himself is running through the back rooms, looking for a way out, trying to escape the monster. Especially when certain characters are killed, or one is killed and one is taken. I won't spoil it that much, but go ahead and know that. And yeah, I'm giving this whole review while paying attention to my crooked, asymmetrical face, So, yeah, don't make a creepypasta image of me, please. Anyway, that's it for my review. I went about 30 minutes. I reviewed more of Backrooms than I did of Obsession. They're both good movies. If you're going to see these both, why not have a double feature? I mean, Discount Tuesdays and Wednesdays at AMC Theaters, other movie theaters such as Alamo Drafthouse. I think Alamo Drafthouse has one called something to do with children, baby thing. If I look it up real quick. So yeah, I just looked it up. Alamo Drafthouse has a thing all day. All of their tickets are also, I think, 50% off, and they have one called Baby Day Show, which apparently they keep the lights up a bit and brighten them up a bit, and they keep the sound down a bit in order for, going by the description, in order for your babies to sleep and never know that they were there at the movies. But yeah, the tickets are like half off. Anyway, so yeah, go see a double feature. I wish I could. If I didn't have to work, I would definitely do it. But yeah. So like and comment in the comment section. Like and subscribe. Let me know if I did well in my review. I know I missed quite a bit. I tried not to spoil it. Let me know if you think of the movie. Did you like it? Do you like Indy Navarrete's performance as Nikki? I did. A lot of people were giving her kudos. A lot of people were giving her, high recommendation. She's very good. So, also Michael Johnston, his performance was great. But let me know what you think about him. So, that's it. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Take care.